Alright folks, welcome back to the Red Bull Wololo Legacy Road to Wololo July final. Well, that's a bit of a mouthful to say. And we've got B on Abbasid up against HuT on Delhi. And we're here today on Dry Arabia. HuT going straight for the mosque. B just food gathering for the minute. Straight on the sheep, no instant mill. So HuT going for his mill after his initial sheep. I wonder if we're going to see the Abbasid player try and sneak in the quick second town centre, or if he's just going to try and take the fight to the Delhi player off one TC. Delhi player obviously incentivized to try and get on the sacred sites if he can. So Abbasid players always build their houses like slightly apart just to try and maximize the length of the snake so they can increase their chance of getting to golden age faster, because their outlying resources will be connected up quicker. They reap the rewards, increased gather rate, then that plus research speed, then that plus production speed. So quite hefty if you get on that. HuT, he's going to try and get efficient production, piety and sanctity, because he's gone for the instant mosque. He wants to get piety before sanctity, whereas if he delays the mosque he's going to have to get it after sanctity in order to get sanctity as quickly into feudal as possible, so you can start really contesting sacred sites and reaping gold rewards, paying for his scholars. Now Delhi player, Abbasid player B. Here on the north side, the blue trunks is economic wing. On cue, probably going to get fresh foodstuffs and go for second TC as a pretty quick follow up to this, I imagine. So we've got our top Australian versus our top Russian player facing off today. Now don't go looking into any fucking stupid politics around that. Just take it for what it is. They can be proud of where they come from and who they are. Or I can be. In either case, for both of them. So we've got Dome of the Faith on the way here. HuT probably going to look at getting all of his later scholars out of that, given that's got a hefty 40% cost reduction and half train, doubled train speed of the mosque, which actually houses a lot more in the way of these Delhi specific and in general mosque and temple building techs than the Dome of the Faith does. Or House of Wisdom. Sort of the opposite really. I mean, you've got your monastery building or your temple building, the mosque as well for Abbasid, but they can only get it in castle like everyone else. And the House of Wisdom actually has most of the Civ's unique tech, most of the Civ's unique techs, in it. Well, there is actually a House of Learning for Delhi as an age 3 option. And it does have some spicy unique techs, but I don't really see people getting a lot of them other than the one for increased man-at-arms damage. Because the rest, like, by the time you get them, they're pretty useless, like increased house capacity and shit like that when you're already in castle. It's like, yeah, that's pretty shit, bro. Al-Hujum! That's about the extent of my Arabic knowledge. I'm pretty sure it means attack, or something along those lines. It also helps that it's in Age of Empires 2, so I've had about 20 years to figure out and perfect that voice line, which sounds a little bit different in this game anyway, due to, you know, time and probably slight region differences. So HuT going for some horseman harass, and he's able to reap the benefit of double production speed, but he actually needs to get a little bit more food. Oh, sorry, that's B that needs to get a little bit more food at the minute. Oh, yeah, B's taking this hunt and buries him at once here. So this is a pretty nice spawn for him, but at the same time, if HuT can cut this off from him, this is pretty rough for him to deal with. But oh, that's quite nice. Second TC is going to be able to shadow the berries perfectly as well as the hunt. So a little bit lucky there for B. But a bit of forethought to go for second TC in a location like that. While HuT is just trying to deny Stone Gatherers. I think he's a little bit unaware that he's already got it until... I think he must have just seen it heading through there. Hard to tell because... Oh yeah, I don't think he has seen it. Now the cool South Asian music's ended. I feel alone in the silence. So there's units everywhere at the moment. Scholar's being picked off, which isn't that great for HuT right now. To be singling one of them out. Looks like HuT has a couple more. Where that came from, he wants to grab this side sacred site and wants to probably grab this central one as well. Oh, and that's rough for HuT because the deer aren't perfectly stacked up there for him. Top Bs, obviously. Getting close to the TC, very efficient gathering. Well, HuT is going to lose this potentially. Though B is forced to take an engagement while HuT sits on both sacred sides. So this could go quite well for him or quite rough for him. He could potentially lose or keep both of these. He does have the 7 horsemen, but he also does, and he's got the camel archer rather than a scout in the mix. Looks like B's got to flee. Is a B big enough to get a flea? I thought a flea would be as big as a B. Just some stoner thoughts while we're in the middle of this game. So cavalry charge there. But meanwhile, B's forced after garrison. Some vills by HuT. But keeping in mind, HuT is playing a 1 TC eco here at the moment. So even though he's got the 2 sacreds, he's going to start trailing B in terms of the eco. And B's also picked off another scholar here, so HuT's going to have to invest in one more just to go and take that sacred. It looks like HuT for the minute has now pushed off all the sacred sites because B, the forethought out of barracks. He's actually gone up to 3 TC Abbasid, very greedy, but if he can hold out from here, he can really boom. Even though HuT can hold on to 1 or 2 sacred sites, it might not be enough because 3 villager production is so much better than 1. Especially when for Abbasid, the villages are half priced. So you barely notice actually having to add the villager production in. I don't know what that little icon is. It looks cool. Oh, he's the one capturing the sacred. So it looks like B unable to prevent HuT from taking the central site, but he is actually neutralizing that one on that left side. And HuT sort of forced to camp this one because B has his forces still here. So HuT still 1 TC economy. B 3 TC eco, so he's up to 53 and 14. HuT is on 36 and 28. So B's also got to deal with the fact that his opponent's got a much bigger army at the moment, but HuT doesn't want to engage into the spears if he can help it, because as you see, they just skewer the horsemen. Now trying to focus down camel archers, but there's still a spear left, so probably should have picked him off first. They'll die a lot faster than the camel archers will to your own archers. All in all, I think that was a successful trade from HuT, but he now has to be careful that B doesn't just out-boom him from here. Because as long as he can mount up enough to just keep holding off this initial fighting, he definitely can snap back. So 13 military to 22 for HuT. So HuT, he's got the 2 stables. He's up to 2 armories now. So he'll have all of his upgrades free. Abbasid player, no upgrades just yet, I believe. But B playing with such an expansive economy is forcing HuT to have to make sure he's got control of 2 sacred sites the whole time, and the problem is he doesn't want to split up his army from his scholars, otherwise he just loses them all. So B is just really able to run HuT around the map here. Even though it looks like the reverse may be true, I think just because B is able to play so greedy on the town centers, he's now forcing HuT to both have to age up faster and try and go for multiple TCs behind it. So HuT capping a sacred site, but he doesn't want to take a direct confrontation with B, which is weird because he's playing the more aggressive opening with B going all the way up to the 3 TC boom. So now B has snatched back the sacred, but with HuT aging up, he is actually able to start snatching up all the relics, which I think is the idea here. He doesn't have to worry about trying to contest sacreds, though he is only going to be able to drag this relic a little bit closer to his side of the base. The conversion does manage to snatch up a couple of the spears, so if he's noticing this, he can actually save, well, I was going to say briefly save the scholar and at least force B to have to bring back some more units, but HuT, well, this is rough for him because he's going to have to get these villages out of here, and I think B's already seen them, so he can just go and send the camel archers to pick them off while the rest of the army turns and fights. Now B, I think he's in a wonderful spot, and the pressure is really now on HuT to try and hold on to these relics and just try and make sure he can get to 2, if not even 3 town centers behind this. He's overgathered on stone a little bit though, so I wonder if he's going to try and push forward with a keep as well. does go for a second town centre, and maybe a third. Because he's got so much stone in the bank, all 1200 there. He's mounting another fight, but B's got a lot of spears now, and there's not really much else but cavalry here for HuT, so he's got to retreat. Oppositionally, B just has him beat at the moment. And HuT going to risk it for the biscuit, possibly going to go for a area conversion there, but deciding against it. So B bringing all of his vills forward. He wants to try and go for some forward gathering. Another conversion attempt by HuT. Not successful, but it does buy his scholar the space it needs to try and make its way back to the mosque. Some forward towering here for B, and he wants to aggressively gather out his opponent's food on this side of the map, because this is most of his food reserves, and he can really force HuT into having to preemptively start farming. So HuT 48 and 16, B 90 and 47, so it's a really rough spot for HuT right now. So B going to his age 3, so we're able to afford the investment while HuT's going to lose some more villagers. So he's 45 and 19 to B's 95 and 47, and I think this may be it. He's taking one last stand, and GG, HuT taps out.